Hello everyone, this is Sudipta from Technical Potpourri and welcome to my new video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about cloud storage in Google Cloud Platform. In next couple of videos, I'm going to cover a very important topic from Google Cloud Platform. It's called the cloud storage. So in the first video, what I'm going to cover is, I'm going to give you a brief introduction of what is cloud storage in the Google Cloud Platform. I want to explain the concept of bucket and objects. What are the different cloud storage location options we have in Google Cloud Platform and how to decide which one to choose. And then what are the different cloud storage classes that we have. And finally, a demo. So without any further delay, let's start. So let's talk about what is cloud storage. So as you can see, it's a managed service from the Google Cloud Platform to store unstructured data. So in Google Cloud Storage, what we will do, we'll basically create buckets under a project at a particular location with a storage class specified. And what it will do, it will help us to do a versioning and lifecycle of the entire Google Cloud Storage. I specifically marked the important factors, which is basically location, storage class, versioning, and lifecycle. Location and storage class is something I'm going to cover in this video, and versioning and lifecycle will come in the next video. So let's understand buckets and object. What is bucket? Buckets are basic containers that hold your data. So everything that you store in Google Cloud is basically contained in a bucket. So you basically use bucket to organize your data, and also it will help you to control access, like who can access the data inside your bucket. And basically you can create multiple folders, but you cannot create buckets under another bucket. So bucket will always be your first thing, and under which you will create objects or you create folders. Now, a couple of things that you need to understand or you need to remember if you're going for the certification is like each bucket needs a globally unique name. It's very important when I'm telling the globally unique name, because bucket name has to be globally unique. And there has to be a geographical location, like where the bucket will store the data. It can be in US, it can be in UK, it can be in India, it can be in Asia. So you need to specify which geographic location the bucket will store the data. So this is something you need to mention while creating the bucket. Now, once you create the bucket, you cannot change the bucket's location. But what you can do, whatever data is inside that bucket, you can copy that data to a different bucket, which is from another location. So basically, once you create a bucket, you specify a location, but you cannot change the location. But what you can do, you can just copy the content to a different bucket, which lies in a different location. And now what is object? Object is basically the content of the bucket. So anything that you store inside the bucket is called an object. So objects are individual pieces of data that you stored in the Google storage. Objects are stored inside the bucket, and it basically has two components. One is basically the data, the real data that you want to store inside the bucket, and the object metadata. So I'll explain what is object metadata in following slides. But I hope the concept of bucket and object is clear. So with that, let's go to the next slide. Now, in this slide, I'm going to explain you how the hierarchy works. So we always start with organization. And then under the organization, we have projects. Under the organization, we have multiple projects. As you can see, project 1 and project N. Under the project, we have multiple buckets. So when you create the bucket, should always belong to a project. And one project can have multiple buckets. As you can see here, project 1 has bucket 1 and bucket N. And under the bucket, you have multiple objects, which are basically the file that you want to store. So under bucket 1, you have object 1 and object N. So this is how the hierarchy works. And this is very important because you need to understand how the hierarchy works in Google Cloud Platform. So I have a dedicated video where I've explained the Google Cloud hierarchy. I'll provide the link in the description of this video, also on the top right corner. So if you want, you can just go and revisit that video and understand the concept of hierarchy in Google Cloud Platform. Okay, so with that, let's move to the next one. What is cloud storage location? As I was mentioning, like when you create a bucket, you need to mention where the data will be stored. So in Google Cloud Platform, we have three options. So first option is region, which is basically when you create a bucket, you mention that, okay, this is a specific geographical location where I want to store my data. So that option is called region. For example, Toronto, you want to store all your data in Toronto. So that's called region. Second option is a dual region. So instead of specifying one single region, you select, okay, I want to share my data, I want to store my data in two different locations. They will be from the same continent. You cannot store data in two different regions which belong to two different continents. It has to be one continent but multiple regions. For example, Toronto and Montreal both belongs to the North America. So that's called the dual region. And the final option is a multi-region. Multi-region means you want to store your data and make it available across the globe. So in that case, it's basically a large geographical location. For example, America or Asia or UK. These are the three options we have: region, dual region, and multi-region. Okay, now how to decide? So let's say this is your requirement. So first requirement is like you want to optimize the latency and bandwidth. You want really lowest data storage cost. And you want to use a cross-zone redundancy. So in that case, you will go with the regional, because you know that most of your data access will be from that particular region. So why should I put my data in multiple regions? I'll focus my data on that particular region, right? So in that case, I'll choose regional. Now, let's say I want to optimize my latency and bandwidth, absolutely, but I want to also use my cross-regional redundancy. So in that case, I'll go with the dual region. For example, Toronto and Montreal. So it's a dual region. So if one region goes down, my application will still be served because my Montreal region is up. So in that case, I'll go with the dual region. And finally, if my application is huge, it's a global application, data can be accessed from across the globe, but still I want the highest availability. In that case, I'll go with the multi-region. Then I want from anywhere in the America, my data will be accessed. So in that case, I'll go with the multi-region. This is how you will decide which region to choose from. Okay, so I hope this concept is clear. Now, let's talk about the storage class. This is very important to understand, and I will highly recommend you pay attention this one, because this is something you need to understand if you're going for a certification, or if you're not even going for the certification, but you are creating your project, you are creating the storage class in Google Cloud Platform. Understanding this concept is very important. Okay, so what are the different storage classes we have? The first storage class we have is the standard storage. Followed by we have the nearline storage, we have the cold line storage, and the archive storage. I'll explain all four of these. So let's start with the standard storage. So what is standard storage? Standard storage is basically an option which will choose if you have a requirement that my data will be frequently accessed. In Google Cloud, we call this as a hot data, but the data will be stored for a very small amount of time. So basically your requirement is my data will be accessed very frequently, but it will not stay for a longer time. It will stay for a very short amount of time. So in that case, you'll go with the standard storage. So in the standard storage, when you choose the region, if your region is like, if you choose the region, then it's basically makes sense that you select a region, the same where your GKE, your Google Kubernetes engine or compute engine lies. So it will be the same location. If you choose the dual region, then it will make sense that the region from where your Google Cloud will access the data, it will be the same location where your bucket will be created. And finally, if it is a multi-region, it makes sense you choose multi-region when your data will be accessed across the globe. For example, website content, streaming music, videos, all these things. So in those situations, you will choose standard storage class along with multiple storage locations. With that, let's move to the next one, which is nearline storage. Nearline storage is a low-cost, highly durable storage service for storing infrequent access data. Now, when I'm talking about the infrequent access data, it means I have a plan to read or modify on an average once per month or less. And here, read and modify is very important because you can load data almost every day. There is no issues. But it's all about how frequently you are reading or modifying the data. That what decide what type of storage class you'll have. Is it a nearline storage or other storage class? So 30 days minimum storage duration is for the nearline storage class. It's perfect for data backup, long tail multimedia content, data archiving, and all this thing. But important thing is that when you have a plan that your data will be read or modified on an average once per month or less, then it makes sense to choose the nearline storage. Similar is the cold line storage, which is very low cost, even it's lower than nearline, because this time your plan is to read or modify data once in a quarter. That's why it's a minimum storage duration is 90 days. And final option is the archive storage. Archive storage is basically the lowest cost, but it's still highly durable. And it's basically used for data archiving, online backup, disaster recovery. And this is something you have a plan to read or modify the data less than a year. So that's why it's a minimum storage duration is 365 days. So these are the three options we have. Start with the standard storage, nearline, cold line, and the archive storage. With that, it's time for a demo. So here I am in my Google Cloud Console. So the first thing that I'll do, I want to create a bucket. I will go here and click on cloud storage and click on bucket. Here, the way to create a bucket, you can either click on this create bucket or you can click on this create. Once you go here, this is something I was mentioning you need to give a globally unique name. So let me give a name as my bucket. Let's choose this my bucket Sudipta and put September 19. This is the location I was telling. You can choose multi-region, dual region, or region. If I choose region, I can choose a particular location where I want to store the data. For example, this one, Montreal or Toronto. If it's a dual region, I can choose a continent and then I can select under this continent what are the two locations where I want to store the data. For example, Montreal and Toronto. And then if I have multi-region, it's basically I need to choose only the continent. So we have three options here, US, Asia, and Europe. From these three options, we need to select a continent. So for the time being, I'll choose multi-region and choose US and click on continue. Here, the next part, which is basically the storage class. As I was mentioning, you have three storage class: standard, nearline, cold line, and archive. I've already explained that. Standard is best for the short-term storage, nearline once a month, cold line once in a quarter, and archive basically less than a year. I'll go ahead with the standard, click on continue. This is something how you want to control accessing the data. If you don't want your data to be accessed publicly, then click on this checkbox, otherwise uncheck that. So for the time being, I'm just unchecking that. And then I'll explain this later, but for the time being, let's keep it uniform. Click on continue. And then how you want to protect the data, that's also something I'll explain in my next video. So for the timing, and click on none and then click on create. And what it will do, it will create my first bucket. Now it will take some time. Let me refresh that. I think the bucket is already created. So if I go back, I can see this is my bucket. So my bucket is already being created. And inside that bucket, you, as I was mentioning at the beginning, you cannot create another bucket, but you can create folders. You can create multiple folders, nested folders inside the bucket. So now once you are inside the bucket, you basically want to store the data. So how you can store the data? You basically need to upload the file. So you click on here. Once you are inside your bucket, you click on upload files. And then from your desktop, you select the file that you want to upload. So I have a JPEG file, which I have uploaded here. And if you can see, this is my file which is being uploaded right now. Under this bucket, you can create multiple folders. For example, if I create a folder number 1, a folder is created. Inside that folder, you can create another folder, which is basically folder. Let's give it a name as folder _2. And inside the folder, you can upload the file, which is another file. And your upload is done. So now if you go back to the bucket, this is your bucket. You have one file at the top level, but you have multiple folders. For example, you have folder 1, under which you have folder 2, and under folder 2, you have another JPEG file. So this is how you can create your bucket inside your Google Cloud platform from the Google Cloud UI. If I have to do the same thing from the Google Cloud Console, the first thing that I need to do, I need to activate the Cloud Shell. So I need to click here. So here I am inside my Google Cloud shell. The first thing I want to do, I want to set the region. So the command for this is gcloud So this is a command which I'll put to set my region. I'll click on authorize and my region is set. Once my region is set, let me do one thing. I want to export my project name inside a variable. So export, and this is something I'll be using to create my bucket. So I'm to store the project name inside a variable called bucket because I want to use that every time. So here is a comment for that. So it's done. Now I'll be creating a bucket. Now to create the bucket, I'll be using the command. I'll be using gsutil. So the command is that gsutil mb, and here I'll choose gs bucket, and that's a command. So what it's going to do is going to create a bucket for me. So now if I refresh, I can see there is a new bucket being created for me. This is the way how you can create the bucket. Now once a bucket is created, let me download a file which I'll upload under this bucket. What I'm going to do, I'm going to download this file. My file is being downloaded. Now once the file is downloaded, I want to use this file. This is the name of the file, ada.jpg. If I do ls-ltr, you can see there is a file called ada.jpg. So I want to upload this file under technical potpourri. So the command for that is gsutil cp file name, and then where I want to put that is gs, and then under my bucket. And what it will do, it will basically copy the file. So now if I go under technical potpourri, I can see this file is being uploaded correctly inside my bucket. So this is a command which can be used to upload file inside your bucket. Now let's go and remove that file from my location. So now if I see, I don't have file on my local storage, but my file is still there inside my bucket. How we can download a file from bucket to my drive, right? So the command for that is again gsutil. So let me clear this one. So command for this is gsutil cp -r, and then what I want to copy or I want to download is basically followed by ada.jpg. Now if I do that, it will download. It's showing something is wrong. Oh, I need to give a location. So dot, I want to download the file and store it in this particular location. So now enter, and what it will do, it will basically download this file from my bucket to my directory. So now if I do ls-ltr, you can see this is the file. It was not there, but I just downloaded this file from my technical potpourri bucket. Similar way, if I want to download a particular file from this bucket, I can always do that. So my command will be followed by my bucket name, which is basically this one. This is my bucket name. So let's copy that, put it here, and the file that I want to download is basically this one. Yep, and then enter. So what it will do, it will copy this particular file. Now if I do ls-ltr, I can see this particular file is being downloaded from this particular bucket to my local drive. Now let's say I am inside this bucket and I want to make this file publicly available. So how I can do that? So currently, if you see the public access for this file, it's not public, but I want to make it publicly available. So how can I do that? So the comment for this is like gsutil, then followed by SEL ch minus u all users, and I want to give the read permission to gs So this is the command. If I enter this command, it will basically update the public access for this particular file. So now if I do a refresh, if I click on refresh, you can see it was initially not publicly accessible. Now it's public accessible. So if I can copy the URL and put it in a different tab, I can see that I can access this particular file. So this is the way how we can give public access to a particular file. For example, you want to remove the public access. So how you can do that? So exactly the same command is basically ch. Instead of u, you will put d here, and you don't need to put this one, and done. So what it will do, it will update the public access. So now if I refresh, you can see the public access is not public. Okay, now for example, you want to delete this particular file from the bucket. What is the command? Again, it will start with gsutil rm remove, and then gs bucket and this, because I want to remove this particular file. Now if I do refresh, you see that file is gone, because this is the way how you can delete a particular file from your bucket. So this is the way how you can create your bucket both from Google Cloud as well as from Cloud Console. You can upload your object, you can give permission to the object so that it can be publicly accessible. You can remove the object, you can copy the object, all you can do from your Google Cloud UI or from Google Cloud Console, right? So that's all for today's video. In next video, I'm going to show you the versioning, the retention, and the life cycle of Google Cloud Storage. So till then, please practice this in your Google Cloud Console, and if you have any question, please put this in the description of this video. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please hit the like icon, share, and please subscribe to my channel so that you came to know about all my upcoming videos. Till then, thank you. Bye bye.